Boom! Ha ha ha! Hey, I'm Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. Hey, let's have some fun and linguistic games. Everybody knows Mum calls me James. Well, welcome to Chillin Tuesday here in the Seahorse Medicine Cafe with my seahorse, my green tea in the cafe at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. And it's a Chillin Tuesday, and it's a wet and soggy, moist night outside here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra, and we'll start with the Chillin Tuesday weather report. Well, it's currently 11 degrees, which is really warm for a winter night in Guyra on the 4th of July. And it's heading down to 6 overnight. That's a warm night for winter. And then and a bit of rain, and then it'll clear up tomorrow. It'll be a bit overcast and cloudy, up to about 10 degrees. 11 degrees, a shower or two. Thursday up to 2 to 10, partly cloudy. Friday, then the wind picks up and it's going to be 2 to 9, so it's going to feel really, really chilly on Friday. Saturday, morning frost, -1 to 9. Sunday, 1 to 9. Monday, -3 to 12. And Tuesday, -3 again. So yes, after the rain comes the cold bits. Okay, we're on Chillin Tuesday, so next week it's going to be chillier than today because it'll be probably chillier. Yeah, it will be. All right, let's get the show on the road. Well, happy Neidjie week. Yes, tonight there's no sky tonight. It's just thundercloud because the sky is just full of clouds. So it's just me. I am doing a Neidjie special because it's for our elders of poetry about the First Nations, or of the First Nations poets past and writers and song people. And the three that I'll be doing tonight will be Udjurun. Well, before I begin, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I broadcast from, and which this goes out to right across the continent currently called Australia. And so not just one, but all of our First Nations brothers and sisters and nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander as well. Well, to pay respect to them, to the elders past and present, and acknowledge their continuing connection to the land on which we, as I said, broadcast and receive out there today. So that's first things first. Now, second things second, due to the nature of this broadcast will contain names and poetry of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who have died and passed away. So that's a cultural sensitivity warning. All right. Number 1 and 2 out of the way. Number 3, context. Now, here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, we commit to reading poetry as it was written and in context of the time that it was written. Hence, one of tonight's poems contains words that are currently considered offensive and not in colloquial, everyday use anymore. At the time it was written, the words were in colloquial use, and the reason that I will be using the word, which is the N word, and that being nigger, because it's written in the poem, and the poem is from the perspective and it's a truth. It's actually called it's a truth-telling poem. And one of the things that's very important is that we do tell the truth, and we put it from the perspective of the time when the poem was written. And the poem that I'll be reading by J.E. Liddle is first up is "'Tis True, Not Many Years Ago." Then after that I'll be doing a poem of Udjuru Noonuccal of the Noonuccal mob there on Minjerribah, or as it was known, Stradbroke Island. Then some Kevin Gilbert poems, Wiradjuri man and poet. Udjuru Noonuccal was our first published female poet or Aboriginal poet who published a whole book. And then finally, Kakadu man Bill Neidjie's words, a gift from him. Now, so to begin with, we'll begin with the beginning. Let's begin at the end actually. The reason that I'll be doing Kakadu man Bill Neidjie's part out of this book here, published by Resource Managers Proprietary Limited, a company that doesn't appear to exist anymore, so it looks like nobody owns the copyright. However, the bit that I'll be reading is called a gift. I give you this story. Now, he was a Kakadu man, and he was the last of his tribe, of his people, the last speaker. So this knowledge that is recorded here in this book was his last words and wisdom that he wanted passed on to all people. Not just, well, he had no descendants because he was the last of his tribe, so he wanted it passed on in perpetuity, which is exactly what corresponds with the humble and respectful intentions here of the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame to honour, to preserve, and songs and songlines of our First Nations people, and to promote and encourage the use of First Nations languages, not just the English language, in poetry. And there's some wonderful stuff. Oh gosh, what was the one I heard today from the Gamilaroi fella? Anyway, great song. It's on the radio. It was released a couple of years ago. Fantastic. It's in English and Gamilaroi. And why not? It's important that we preserve these old languages because of the wisdom that's inherent. For example, if we look at, say, a language like Bunjalung, which only has a couple of pronouns, Nali or Nalanga, as far as I'm aware, and which means that we and we all together. There's no I, you, or he or she. So it's all, everything belongs to we, which is great. No one can have anything. All right. So beginning tonight with a non-First Nations poet, and that would be J.E. Liddle, and this is a poem about the genocide. Straight up, it's about a genocidal act of a bunch of settlers on a group of Aboriginal people. So if you are soft or don't want to listen, and it does contain the word niggers quite a few times because it is written from a settler's perspective. And so this was written over 100 years ago, well and truly. It's called "'Tis True, Not Many Years Ago" by J.E. Liddle. "'Tis true not many years ago, and in the lifetime of old men, 2 men were working on a show. The niggers were all bad then. They did a known prospectus spear while he was hauling up some ore. Down went the bucket very near, hit his mate at the shaft foot tore. Windlass, barrel, rope and all, and dropped them also down the shaft. Then heavy stones began to fall, he heard the niggers when some laughed. The mate sat safely in the drive, he realised what happened then and felt the scaredest man alive. Around in shows were some few men. The niggers finished off his mate, took everything of all their store. They couldn't think their haul was great, down to the creek the swag they bore. A night passed by, prospectors round soon missed them, they'd met every night. A search was made and then they found the murdered man and the other's plight. They crowded round the shaft and man, what their thoughts were needed not be said. One wondered if the other can be down below, alive or dead. Below, he in the drive, then answered that he was all right, he was not hurt and he was alive. But he had spent an awful night. They hauled him up and he looked quite pale and very certain vengeance swore. Their little camp told its own tale. The nigs had taken all their store. They buried first the honest mate and called up other men all round, rifles, guns and full of hate. They searched for tracks the niggers found. Not a fig leaf, a bit of rag or roo skin like its size they wore, clothing not bigger than a tag or label in a box in store. The sturdy lot were opening tins of meat and jam when there they lobbed, and there were many bucks and gins, and these the murdered man had robbed. With stones they opened tins of meat, some were enjoying well a feed, doubtless they thought this was a feat, although a foul and cruel deed. They shot the lot and left them there. They lay rotting many a week, and to this day no niggers dare go near the place known as Skull Creek. And of this the police were informed and made inquiries of the deed. Since then the prospectors were unharmed, and here they fossick where they need. Many wild nigs were hunted down and others left, cleared right away into the bush. Soon all were gone, few there are seen unto this day. So, yeah, which is why we have only 3% of the Australian population is Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. Now, one man, Kevin Gilbert, who passed in 1993, a Wiradjuri man, and I'll just read you a little bit about him from here in Wikipedia. Kevin John Gilbert was born the 10th of July 1933 and passed on the 1st of April 1993, age 60. He was an Aboriginal activist, author, artist, playwright, poet and printmaker. A Wiradjuri man, he was born on the banks of the Lachlan River in New South Wales. Gilbert was the first Aboriginal playwright and printmaker. He was an active human rights defender and involved in the establishment of the Aboriginal Tent Embassy in 1972, as well as various protests to advocate for Aboriginal Australian sovereignty. He won the 1978 National Book Council Prize for Writers for Living Black Talks to Kevin Gilbert. He was the youngest of 8 children. His mother was Wiradjuri, his father Irish-English. He was born on the banks of the Lachlan River, Killara, just outside Condobolin in New South Wales. And at the age of 7, his siblings and he were orphaned. He was raised by his sisters and extended family, and he left school at the age of 13 and picked up various seasonal and short-term jobs. His book, Me, Mary and Kangaroo, reflects a childhood intimate connection to his mother's Wiradjuri country and child's dreaming. His extended family would travel on the fruit picking circuit, and in 1954 he married Goma Scott. In 1957 he murdered Goma, apparently because of her infidelity. He received a life sentence in prison. He educated himself and developed artistic talents. And he was released on parole after 14 years. So he had, in prison he did art, lino prints and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's a very, very long biography. Well, tonight I'm going to be reading out of Child's Dreaming, just a few of the poems in here that I haven't done before. Child's Dreaming by Kevin Gilbert. This is published by Hyland House in 1992. And the first one I'll be doing tonight is Hear the Lilt of Laughter. Hear the lilt of laughter of the children while in school. They're tracking platypus down by the swimming pool. The children saw Mum Turtle's tracks that led them to her eggs. A little further on they found Blue Tongue who has short legs. As they studied further, looking at the trees they saw the scratch tracks made by will-eye possums, sharp and shining claw. They saw where Old Crow had his lunch and some old piece of meat, and running tracks of marsupial mouse that Dingo tried to eat. And then on the horizon they saw a rainbow gleam and listened to the legend of what rainbow glow and beam. After lunch they learnt to read the message of the birds and what the wind was saying, things you've never ever heard. They read the dancing of the ants, the flight of native bees, and what the clouds were saying high above the tall gum trees. The children found some vegetables, a yam and cabbage tree. They must collect some fruit and meat, then go home to tea. They had a very busy day and learnt a lot as well. They had a corroboree dance at night with happy tales to tell. Next one, Emu and Koori. When Captain Cook wrote his seafaring book, how could have he been so silly to think he discovered Australia before Emu and the Koori? Little paw print. Here's someone's little paw prints. Whose? I do not know. Carved upon the desert sand in a lovely sculptured row. And is that hole an antlion's nest? Or some small, dry desert beast that little paw prints tried to find to make a dinner feast? Blue tongue. Blue tongue licked his lips today. I sat and wondered why. Mrs. Mozzie shed a tear, and so did Mrs. Fly. Their juniors wouldn't listen to what their mothers said. Now, Blue Tongue, nodding wisely, looks contented and well fed. Yeah, you've got to listen to your mother. Yeah, always. Big bit of advice. Look after mum. Look after mum. Yeah. Little lizard. Little lizard on the rock. Doesn't go to school. He cannot draw or read or write, but he's no one's fool. He knows it's warmer on the rock when the south winds are chill, and where to go for dinner so he can eat his fill. Little lizard. Very clever, eh? Just a couple more. Trees. Well, this is like about our ancestors, isn't it? One of our elders. Our trees are definitely our elders. If the trees aren't our elders, then who are they? I don't know. They were here before us. Trees. Will you please stop and look at me? An old and gnarled and friendly tree. And in your own imagery, look back through time so that you see the thousands birds who come to me and rested their tired wings and sing their lovely songs and poems and bring their baby nestlings to my buds and shelter them from storms' loud thuds. If you should hear steel axes ring or see a child do hurtful things to trees like me, then please, oh please, I'm your friend, the tree. And save me, friend, so I may grow stronger still and surely throw your leaves and limbs to make warm fires and stretch my beauty like tall spires to shade and shelter you and be a complete part of you and me and Mother Earth. That's beautiful. So we're going to end up with one more that I've got left here for you. Our sacred family. I'm part of every living thing. And every living thing is part of me. We're all created of this sacred earth. So everything's our sacred family. Our sacred family. We're all connected, the interconnectedness of everybody and everything. A beautiful book, Child's Dreaming. Check it out, by Kevin Gilbert. A wonderful Wiradjuri poet. Now, born, Wiradjuri Noonuccal was born in 1920. and passed the same year as Kevin Gilbert, 1993. So, you know, she was a bit older because he was born in 1933, she was born in 1920. She was born Kathleen Mary Jane Rusko, later Kath Walker. She was an Australian Aboriginal activist, artist, an educator who campaigned for Aboriginal rights. She was best known for poetry, and she was the first Aboriginal Australian to publish a book of verse. She also served in World War II as a nurse. And this one that I'm about to read to you is very, 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 I guess it's just very relevant to the one about that Kevin Gilbert mentioning, that there's, they've still got sovereignty. And this is one really important thing, because sovereignty's never been ceded by First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. And they have all the same rights as you and I under the current constitution of, all in capitals, later Government of Australia, as of 1967, when they were Aboriginal people were recognised as citizens, which means they were officially stopped being recognised as or flora and fauna, and they were humanised and given the same rights as everyone else to participate in society as Australians under the Government of Australia, in all capitals letter, the right to get a birth certificate and a citizenship. So this poem, Municipal Gum, is exactly about that, and it was written just after the getting of citizenship. The particularly last line here, the last line is very relevant, because regardless of the fact that citizenship had been given, there was this question, what have they done to us? All right, gum says municipal gum, municipal meaning a city, gum tree. Gum tree in the city street, hard bitumen around your feet. Rather, you should be in the cool world of leafy forest halls and wild bird calls. Here, you seem to me like that poor cart horse, castrated, broken, a thing wronged, strapped and buckled, its held prolonged, whose hung head and listless mien expresses hopelessness. Municipal gum, it is dolorous to see you thus, set in your black grass of bitumen. Oh, fellow citizen, what have they done to us? A very powerful poem. All right, now moving on. I've my final book here that I'll be reading to you from is this, Kakadu man Bill Neidjie. I will read you the biography of Bill to begin with from Wikipedia here, and it's not all of it, but a bit of an introduction. So, Big Bill Neidjie, nickname, was born in 1913 and passed on around 1913, passed on the 23rd of May 2002. He was nicknamed Kakadu Man. He was the last surviving speaker of the Kakadu language, an Aboriginal language from northern Kakadu, after which Kakadu National Park is named. He was an elder of the Kakadu people and custodian of the land who cared deeply about preserving his culture and land. He was born around 1913 at Alawandjadjawani on the East Alligator River in the Kakadu region of the Northern Territory into the Bunitji clan of the Kakadu people. His father was Nadampala and his mother was Lucy Warramaka from Ulbuk clan of the Amurdak people. He had little formal education, spending only a couple of years at school in Oenpelli, present day Gunbalanya, but learning about his traditional culture and people and lands from his father and grandfather. From the age of 20, he first worked with buffalo hunters, then at a timber mill, then on board a lugger transporting people around the north coast, and he was initiated at a ceremony in the early 1940s. During the Second World War, he helped in the defence of Australia, working at the radar station at Cape Don. He was in Darwin during the Japanese bombings in 1942 and helped Aboriginal people during and after the devastation. He acquired the name Big Bill because of his physique and strength, and he was also called Kakadu Man after the title of his first book. He was a senior elder of the Kakadu National Park and traditional owner of the Bunitji estate in northern Kakadu, perhaps the most spectacular national park in Australia. His decision to open up this land to other people was instrumental in creation of Kakadu National Park. Neidjie was instrumental in the decision to lease his traditional lands to the Commonwealth of Australia so that it could be managed as a wild area and as a resource to be shared by all Australians. After helping establish Kakadu as a national park in 1979, he returned there to commit the rest of his life to supporting the joint management of the park. He worked as a ranger and cultural advisor for the park, and his work was critical in gaining World Heritage status for the park. Kakadu was listed in 3 stages in 1981, 87 and 92, the entire park. He got a Queen's Birthday Medal of the Order of Australia in 1989. And he became known as Kakadu Man because that was the title of his book, Kakadu Man. What else? Okay. Yes. He's a life, death, and legacy. Yeah. So in this, many Indigenous cultures, there are traditional secrets passed down from generation to generation, and it's taboo to reveal these secrets to a initiate. As he grew older, Neidjie realised that he might be in the position as one of the last Kakadu initiates of taking these secrets to the grave with him. So he made a courageous decision to break the taboo so that his culture might live on. In addition to entrusting some of the custodianship of tribal lands to his son, Jonathan, he related many of his stories to the anthropologist Stephen Davids and others, and published 2 books in which he related his passion for the land of which he was part, and insisted on the importance of managing the land in the traditional ways. He hoped that one day his culture might thrive once again, and his grandchildren or their grandchildren might pick up the threads once more. Now, I'll be reading out of his book tonight. I have attempted to contact the copyright holder of the book, Resource Managers Proprietary Limited, in all capitals letters. Now, they don't exist anymore because they're a company who doesn't exist anymore. So I can't exactly write to them and ask them permission to use the poems and the words of Bill Neidjie in here. So I will only use a small amount of it, just enough to give this. So yeah, we're not one chapter, that's all, one chapter, yeah. Pardon me. Now, as the last surviving Kakadu speaker, not man, but speaker, this is called I Give You This Story, and I will state from the beginning that I do this to humbly honour Bill Neidjie and respect his wishes to pass this knowledge on to all people, really. That's my understanding, to share, that he wanted to share it with non-initiates and initiates and everyone. And since it's called I Give You This Story, it's his gift to us. I give you this story, this proper, true story. People can listen. I'm telling you this while you got time. Time for you to make something, history, book. I was thinking, no history written for us when white Europeans started. Only few words written. Should be more than that. Should be written way Aborigine was live, that floodplain. My father, my grandmother, my grandfather all used to hunt there, use ironwood spear, no clothes in. When I was growing up, a good mob of people all around. Now, people a bit wicked. My time never. Do a little bit wrong. Otherwise, get speared straight away. Now, a little bit cheeky mob. Old time. They would all be dead now. Old people were hard. I frightened when young. Only a few people now. But it's easy for this mob. Anyway, got to be made, that book. There's still time. No man can growl at me for telling this story, because it'll be too late. I'll be dead. Introduction. This earth I never damage. I look after. Fire is nothing. Just clean up. When you burn, new grass coming up. That mean good animals soon. Might be goose, long-necked turtle, goanna, possum. Burn him off. New grass coming up. New life all over. I don't know about white European way. We Aborigine burn. We make things grow. Trees grow. Every night he grow. Daylight, you stop. Just about dark, you start again. Just about morning, I look, I say, oh, nice tree this. When you sleep, tree growing like other trees. You got lots of blood. Rotten tree. You got to burn him. Use him to cook. He's finished up. Cook or roast in coals. White European cooking oven. From university, that. Aborigine didn't know that before. Now all this coming up with Toyota. First people come to us. And they started and run our life. Quick! They bring drink. First, they should ask about fish, cave, dreaming, but they rush in. They make school, teach. Now Aborigine losing it, losing everything. Nearly all dead, my people. My old people gone. Those first people was too quick. Wasn't Aborigine fault. Still Aborigine all around 1929. 1952, 1953, few left, but 1970 to 1979 gone. Only me, Robin Gaydon and Felix Holmes. Each man he stay on his own country, but he can't move his country, so he stay there. Stay with his language. Language is different, like skin. Skin can be different, but blood the same. Blood and bone, all same. Man can't split himself. White Europeans can't say, that Aborigine no good. Might be that Aborigine all right. Man can't growl at Aborigine. Aborigine can't growl at white European. Because both ways might be both good men. Might be both no good. You never know. So you should understand yourself. No matter Aborigine or white European. I was keeping this story myself. It was a secret in my mind. But I see what other people are doing. And I was feeling sad. Law. Law never change. Always stay same. Maybe it's hard, but proper one for all people. Not like white European law, always changing. If you don't like it, you can change. Aboriginal law never change. Old people tell us, you got to keep it. It always stays. Creek, plain, hill. That plain can change. Wet season, him mud. You get lily, you get fish, but you dry up. That's all right. Then people can get long-necked turtle. Same for animal. People look for food, animal look for food. Bird look, anyone look. Well, the same. Each billabong can be dry. No fish, turtle, nothing. You want new water. Then fish and turtle, make him new one. New rain coming up, that rain make everything again. Plenty fish, turtle, lily. Rain for us, for anybody. Rain give us everything new. Yam, fish, everything. Barramundi good in the wet season. Still good after the wet because of rain. Big barramundi from saltwater. He follow fresh water down river. Rain helping him. He can make eggs. We must get rain. Law says we get rain. You come along wet season and go dry season. Rain come down and give us new fresh water. Plants coming up new. Yam, creeper, all plants new. Then we get fruit, honey, and things to live. Tree, he changed with rain. You get new leaf. He got to come because rain, yam, he getting big too. Old people say, you dig yam? Well, you dig in your granny or mother through the belly. You must cover it up, cover again. When you get yam, you cover over. Then no hole through there, yam grow again. You hang on to this story, they say. So I hang on. I tell kids, when they get yam, leave hole, I say. Who leave that hole? Cover him up. They say, oh, we forget. I tell them, you leave an hole, you killing yam. You killing yourself. You hang on to your country. That one I fight for. I got him. Now he's yours. I'll be dead. I'll be coming to earth. And all these places for us all belong Kakadu. We use them all the time. Old people used to move around, camp, different place. Wet season, dry season, always camp, different place. Wet season, we camp high place. We got plenty goose egg, no trouble for fresh water. Dry season, move along floodplain. Billabong got plenty food. Even food there when everything dry out. At Kakadu we used to visit. Used to come here to Billabong, dry season camp. Plenty fowl snake, long-necked turtle, early dry season, and good lily. Just about middle dry season, fowl snake, turtleneck, lily flowering. Everybody camp, like holiday. Plenty food this place, good time for ceremony. Stay maybe 1-2 weeks. Pelican, taparoo, white cockatoos. All got to come back, make him like before. Fish, he listen, he say, oh, somebody there. Him frightened. Too many Toyota. make me worry. Oh, look after my country. Now Lily coming back. Lily, nuts, birds, fish, a whole lot coming back. Gotta look after. We can't waste anything. We always used to use what we got. Old people and me. If man leave 1 or 2 barramundi behind, you go bad, trouble, big fight. You can't waste anything. My culture's hard. But got to be to keep him. If you waste him anything now, next year you can't get as much because you already waste. When I was young, I never wasted. Otherwise, straight away I'd get trouble. Even bone not wasted. Make soup or burn that bone. Watch out, that might be dreaming one too. That story changed now. Should still be. But young people won't listen. Just chuck him away, waste him, destroy everything. When we're young, my time, Felix's time, we never eat big fish, that fish for old people. Same for goose. Young people only eat shoulder of goose. Older people must have goose first. Same for Owen Pelly, Mary River, all over. If young people eat goose or fish, then he'll be dead. No young people touch him, big fish or goose. If I touch him, law says, got to die. You know, frog-necked lizard? He looked funny. Used to be good, smooth animal. He was man. He done something wrong. Look now. Skinny leg, arm, big one ear, frilled neck. What he done? Break law. He went to sacred ceremony called Ubar. He didn't listen. Clapping hands. Oh, people tell him, you break law. You'll be skinny. You won't grow more. People will see you like that.